Past few months, the entire SoFi investor community, or who we like to call the Sofian soldiers, were on the edge of their seats anticipating the long-awaited bank charter. Now that SoFi has achieved this, it raises a lot of questions for investors. The bank charter is said to give SoFi a range of benefits that could help it jump from the plummeting industry that's clearly not getting much love these days. But aside from the fact that SoFi will now be entering the tightly regulated banking space, how much of the anticipated change will come to life in the up and coming months? Let us know in the comment section down below what you think this bank charter will do for SoFi's earnings. And if you've been rocking with us since before the bank charter, comment Wealth Gambit BC down below so we know who's been there in the trenches before charter. We'll also shout you out in an up and coming video. In this video, we'll go over how the bank charter will affect SoFi's 2022 earnings. Welcome to Wealth Gambit. On this channel, we cover all things stocks, from stock news to fundamental analysis. We're not financial advisors, so always do your own due diligence. By the way, if you haven't already, be sure to follow us on our social media pages to be updated on more stock news, market updates, and some SoFi memes. Also, shout out to all of you guys who've been liking and commenting on our previous videos, such as SoFi short sellers wage war. We made a Wealth Gambit Hall of Fame for the real OGs, so here's a quick shout out to you all. In a general sense, this milestone that Captain Noto achieved with his squad will now make sense, as they could now offer checking and savings accounts, and they now have the power to even produce more offerings, as it will now be more cost efficient as a bank. Just to show you how it will affect SoFi's revenue streams, let's take a look at its top tier lending segment. SoFi is currently giving out 4 types of loans, and according to sources, only high-quality applicants can be given the chance to get a loan from this bank. From 40 states before to now 50 states. Recently, SoFi has also announced that it's introduced margin, and we'll be covering that in detail in an up-and-coming video, so stay tuned for that. According to Motley, SoFi has told everyone last year that the bank charter would cause a boom on the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, or what the cool kids call EBITDA. Specifically, it could be close to $200 million this year, and even as much as $300 million in 2025. We know that it's not profitable yet, and it's obviously making people panic sell, but if you want to know more about Captain Noto's game plan, here it is.
Thanks. And when you get the bank charter, how do you envision growing the deposit base? Historically, online banks lead with high yield savings, and then they offer online checking products later. What do you expect your path to be?
Yeah, so we already have a pretty significant amount of deposits through SoFi Money. We can't use those for lending because we are not a bank. We do have FDIC insurance through our sweep program in those banks. So the first thing I'd say is we actually have a pretty substantial amount of deposits that can help fund our loans. And we also have a lot of our own equity capital that we're currently using. And so having the access to deposits will reduce even further our warehouse facility usage relative to it already being pretty low now, given the amount of capital that we have. We are going to have a value proposition in SoFi Money that drives to primary accounts. We want to have our account be their primary account because the information that we get on a daily basis helps us better recommend and personalize offers for our members and how they make their lives better financially. The second thing we can do, because we'll have a lower cost of funds, is that we can lower the interest rates that we charge on our loans, which has a productivity loop to it, because the lower your rates are, the better the credit that you get, and then there's more products and services that person needs. So we could also use our loans as a way to drive direct deposits.
When asked whether these loans are a sell or a hold, Noto said,
"We will do a hybrid of gain on sale plus hold for investment. It'll be a transition. We'll likely on gain on sale move to from 90 days to probably 180 days in terms of average holding time period, because we have access to funding and we have access to multiple layers. We can hold the loans a little longer and then do gain on sale, because it drives more ROE on those loans by holding them another 3 months. The sale price and execution doesn't really change on gain on sale just because you hold for another 3 months. So we know that. So we want to be in the efficient frontier, so to speak, on gain on sale and optimizing the holding period. And then we will do some hold for investment, and we'll transition to the optimal mix between gain on sale and hold for investment over time to maximize returns, return on invested capital and return on equity. But we'll definitely use multi factor approach.
SoFi offering low interest rates will eventually drive its members up. The Fed's interest rate hike this year, a move to slow down inflation, will have people turn their backs on borrowing money, but that isn't just the whole picture. The after effects of the all-time high inflation last year will have to still drive people to borrow money to finance their daily lives, but since people are scared of the big interest rate hike imposed by the Fed this year, they'll seek lending institutions with lower interest rates, and there isn't any reason why these folks wouldn't choose SoFi. If you have a choice between going with a more expensive rate versus a cheaper rate, you'd pick the cheaper rate every time. On top of that, SoFi will have a lot of room to better their rewards to people who are saving their money through SoFi Money, therefore further increasing the possibility of SoFi members' lifetime value, which is one of Commander Noto's biggest goals for SoFi. According to sources, SoFi pays around 4% securitization debt and around 1.6% for its warehouse facilities to these third-party institutions that fund SoFi's lending business segment. And if you do the math, for every $1 million worth of borrowed money using SoFi's platform, the company is paying around $40,000 for securitization debt, and now that SoFi has its own bank, it can save $40,000 for every million worth of its lending products. Bram Berkowitz from Motley also brought up a good point in his recent article. He says, additionally, having a bank charter will make it easier for SoFi to hold loans on its balance sheet, whether that means holding loans for longer periods or to completion. Most fintech consumer lenders sell loans they originate right away to an investor or a bank for a fee. But when you hold a loan on the balance sheet, you can collect interest payments every month, and that loan ends up being more profitable over its life, as long as it doesn't go into default. Bagging the bank charter strongly makes SoFi a trustworthy lender. SoFi being regulated by the OCC, FDIC, and Federal Reserve makes SoFi a more credible institution to trust your money with. SoFi's bank charter approval creates a positive domino side effect within its business operations. The bank charter enabling SoFi to offer low interest rates on its lending business segment makes SoFi one of the best options to borrow money and save money. And with the completion of SoFi's bank acquisitions, it's fair to say that we, SoFi investors, can expect higher revenue this year and the years to come. The bank charter overall speeds up the timeline of SoFi and its road to profitability. And this is great news to us SoFi investors, because with profitability comes the payment of dividends.
Let's take SoFi Invest as an example. What's our right to win for SoFi Invest? And let's be clear, we have to have each product have a right to win on its own, and then collectively show how our products are better when used together. But if they're not best to begin with, the rest of it won't work. And so we're moving to that process.
That wraps up today's video, guys. As we have mentioned in our last videos, we're back and we're better than ever. Let us know your SoFi 2021 Q4 earnings expectations in the comment section down below. And if you find any value in this video, share it with someone who likes this type of content. And until next time, peace.